I expect to see a really, really bad time. Though I'm an optimist on the long term, I'm very pessimistic on what we're going to go through in the meantime. And I believe it's getting, much, much closer right now. But we have a government right now that has no respect for liberty. We have a group in Washington who might run on a program of protecting civil liberties and freedom of speech and protecting the media, but that's not what we're getting. We've essentially passed in 2010 something that can be referred to as the Enabling Act, which is the National Defense Authorization Act, which allows our military to arrest American citizens, hold them indefinitely in secret prisons, and I'm convinced still be able to be tortured and never get a trial. I would say that if you want to see some progress in this country and see a change in attitude, we have to have enough American people rising up and saying it's time we repeal this authority that was given to the president, repeal that part of the NDAA, and say that you have no right whatsoever to arrest American citizens without due process of law. Essentially been done was the repeal of habeas corpus 1215 when it was established. But here we're undermining this. So this is a major significant event that's going on. At the same time, we assume that we have the moral authority and responsibility to go around the world. Do we follow the Constitution? Does either of the parties follow the Constitution with regards to war? How many wars have we been in since World War II? The last time war was declared. We can't even count them if you come on counting all the little ones. All I know, hundreds of thousands have died and suffered. And you can't believe how many more people are going to suffer from the people coming back still from the Middle East, the people who are now involved in an epidemic of suicide because of being thrust into war. It was a no-win war under those circumstances. So that is going to go on for a long, long time. What is the solution to that? That sounds difficult. How do you solve it? Well, it's difficult to solve the problems they created, but the prevention is that you have only a Congress and only a president that will only go to war with a declaration of war at the consent of the people. And when you look at the current events today, how much is going on in foreign policy that might be a threat to you and me? It's the fact that we're still in the Middle East. We still have a bunch of troops in Afghanistan. There's less fighting with our troops and less killing, but we're very much involved. And if you accept the opinion that I strongly hold that one of the reasons why there are radicals who would like to kill us is the fact that we have been in their country. We use drone missiles. We kill a lot of people over there. And every once in a while, we only kill the bad guys, but on occasion we kill some innocent people. Well, as far as I'm concerned, we're not at war. We don't have a right to do this. And every single day, and that is the greatest recruiting tool around for Al-Qaeda, is for us to be in these countries. So in recent history, in recent years, I mean, we were involved for 40 years giving billions and billions of dollars to Egypt to prop up Mubarak. So he would do what we told him, and he did it. And finally, the people became restless, so we joined with the people and said, oh, okay, let's kick him out. So we supported the overthrow of Mubarak and supported Morsi. Morsi takes over, and he's a little more radical than we wanted. So the people say we don't like him either, so we help get rid of him. We throw him out. And then we put the military back in, that they are as ruthless as any of them. They just, arrested 380 people and tried it. They all got the death penalty for a crime that didn't deserve it because there was no way they could have, found the evidence on 386 people and they're planning to execute them. And we participate that back and forth, makes no sense. It was, we have military personnel now in over 130 countries, and we have active military people involved in 84 countries. We have 69,000 in special forces, and they're involved in places like right now in Syria. We have them in Syria. And we're very, very much involved in Ukraine. You know, if you just look at all of your evening news, you'll say, oh boy, if we just didn't have Putin around, everything would be wonderful in Ukraine. That is not true. You, the taxpayer, have been forced to pay in the last 10 years over $5 billion to meddle in the internal politics of Ukraine. And so with the European allies and NATO and American taxpayers, they overthrew an elected government. And yet they blame, and that he was, an elected government was overthrown, but all the blame is being placed on Putin. But the whole point is we can't defend what Putin is doing. We can criticize what we've been doing if it's wrong. But the most important thing is, should we be there? Why don't we just come home and mind our own business? We don't have any money. So we have to address that, and that should be addressed in foreign policy area, and we can look for guidance from the founders, what they said and what they wrote. There's no authority to be the policeman of the world. We don't have any money. And we should listen to their admonition that we don't get involved in entangling alliances. Think NATO, think United Nations, think of all these other things. We don't get involved, and we don't get involved in internal affairs of other nations. Trade with people and be friends with people. And believe me, we'd all be much better off. But this whole thing in Ukraine is, you know, I think a lot of it is fluff. Because Putin has to be tough, and we have to be tough, and we have to talk to people who say that we're the toughest people in the world. But, you know, the West has invested $500 billion in Russia, and Russia's invested $400 billion outside. So there's a strong incentive for them not to go to war. Let's hope that happens. But sometimes these wars break out by, you know, miscalculations, unintended consequences.